Did you ever think you'd live to 92?
Never.
How did you feel the first time you saw Amagansett?
I fell in love. When I first saw Amagansett, it truly was love at first sight. If you know, we all know what that feels like with a human being. But it was like, how could I live on Long Island and not know this existed? I was born in 1929 in what we called for years Upper Manhattan, which was the Bronx. Well, my mother was not a single mother. She had divorced very early and didn't get very much from my dad. I didn't see him for a long time. And she supported me, my grandmother, and my grandfather. But my grandfather died when I was 5. And my grandmother, Nana, and I have a picture of her, brought me up. And my mother always worked. And she did amazingly well, I thought, my mom, because she never was really educated the way women are today. But she, did well in her business world and had jobs at many different places. My mother worked for the 1939 World's Fair, and she met a young reporter there. His name was Joseph Herzberg, and they fell madly in love. Within a few weeks, they married, so that was wonderful. And we lived in the Bronx for a while, and then they decided to move to Long Island, and we moved to Rockville Center, Long Island. And that was a whole new experience for me. I was a poor little city. I was a shy, believe it or not, very, very shy, very, very skinny little girl. I wanted to go to college, but we didn't have the money, really. So I went to a school that was sort of like a boarding school or a junior college, but it was really a secretarial school because my mother believed if you type and take shorthand, you're going to get a job. And she was absolutely right. I got a job at J. Walter Thompson, which was, very exciting. I don't think I was a particularly good secretary. I typed very well, but I was really young and wanted to have fun, which I did. In those days, as you all may have seen on TV, it was like, what is that program?
Mad Men.
Mad Men.
Did all the guys just drink in the afternoon and
yes,
smoke
the
cigarettes?
bosses did. The bosses did. I remember I always had a cover for one of my bosses because once he went to lunch, that was it. And then I'd be getting calls, where is he, sort of thing. And I'd say, he's at a meeting, but he'll be back. But they were all wonderful people. I mean, I had wonderful bosses. When I went to J. Walter Thompson, I found out that even the male boys had to have college educations, and that was a good sign. So, but I set my sights on a copywriter, and he married me. However,
what was his name?
Bob Thomas. So Bob and I got married. We got married on a lunch hour down in Borough Hall in Brooklyn. He wanted to be transferred to the Paris office, but they wouldn't transfer him. So he decided we were just going to quit and go to Paris. There was a little money you got from J. Walter Thompson, I forget what it was called. In January, we took a ship over to France. And that was it was the Rhin Dam, that was Holland American. And it took 10 days to get there because nobody flew and you couldn't afford to fly. But it was terrific.
What year was that?
1952. And I remember arriving in Paris, and I was really a child who had never been any place, just with my grandma. It was like, wow, I'm in Paris. Eventually we met the people from J. Walter Thompson. And they eventually hired him. Then I found out I was pregnant. So here I was, but we found the apartment just at the right time. However, it was 5 flights up, which is a lot of flights to walk, especially if you get pregnant. But it was darling. It was part of a very old Paris apartment. The people had made a little apartment out of this huge apartment. So it had a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, and we had to share the bath, which was not my favorite thing. But so we lived there, and it was a wonderful time because I was the youngest of all the crowd. And we would entertain people And they were from all different countries. And they were all so smart, and there was such good conversations. I learned so very much. Do I still have lipstick on?
Yep, you do.
Okay, this lipstick is the same I've used for about 50 years. It's Revlon. Sounds like I'm doing an ad. I'm not, everybody. It's Revlon. Love that red. And whenever I go to a store and I see it, I'll get buy 2 or 3 so that I always have it, because this is the one I always wear. I had a baby boy, and his name is Luke. He lives in Naples, Florida. He's my oldest son. He's the one who built this. So, then my husband decided it would be wise to go back to New York, because that's where the most information you get about new advertising is. That's where the crux of it is. I had never been to Brooklyn in my whole life. And he said, I looked in Manhattan, and I didn't think I'd be happy there. Everybody gets dressed up there. And I thought, do I have to get dressed up every time I wheel the baby out? And so he suggested I go to Brooklyn. So I went to Brooklyn Heights, and you get off at the St. George Hotel. I got out, and I walked, and it is the most beautiful place, Amagansett, but Brooklyn Heights is the second. It is such an adorable neighborhood, and they're all trees and brownstones and children and mothers. And while I was in Brooklyn on Monroe Place, I had my second child, Evan. And there's a funny story connected with that, because we thought, well, how's Luke gonna like Evan? We said, and when we first brought the baby home from the hospital, Luke was all cute baby and all that. And then he went to the window, and they were collecting the garbage outside, and he said, let's put the baby out. So we knew we were in a little trouble. When Luke was about 5 and Evan was about 3, he got a very good offer from J. Walter Thompson to go to Antwerp, to be the head of the Antwerp office. So we picked up, again, on a ship. Luke, who was 6, I guess, went to Lycée d'Anvers. It's a French-speaking school in Antwerp. And he is a child I'm bringing that does not speak one word of French, and they don't speak any English. And I have to leave him. I mean, that was a hard day, but he was a little soldier, and he did it. He somehow managed. And Evan, whom you will meet, said, Mommy, you speak French very well, but you don't got the accent. Thank you, Evan. I mean, it still is the same today, My husband and I weren't getting along that well, but not that badly either. And he one day just surprised me by saying he didn't want to be married anymore. I was in shock, sad, when he told me, he didn't want to be married anymore. Anybody would be. And I was coming from divorced parents. I was a person who wanted to be married to someone 50, 60, 70 years. But he said, you'll be happier. I guarantee you'll be happier with someone else. I said, yeah, if I ever find anybody else with 2 kids. I decided I would go home, back to Brooklyn Heights, although people said, don't go back where, you came from. And I just couldn't understand why. I said, well, all my friends are there. So I wrote someone who was in real estate, and said I needed an apartment, 3 bedrooms, under $150 in Brooklyn Heights. And could she find me one? And she found me something. I never saw it. I signed the lease in Europe, and waited to see what this was going to be like. The apartment was on Sydney Place, which is still the sweetest street. Okay, so then I got home, and I was happy to be in America. I love being away and learning things, but there's nothing better than to be able to understand a joke or to understand music that's being sung, the words. And if you're not fluent in a language, you miss out on all of that when you live abroad. And I remember coming home, and wow, everything was so clear and, wonderful. Along with the apartment that my friend got me, they gave me a job at their real estate. I had my real estate license, So they gave me a job, which they were really kind to me. And I didn't do much for a while, but finally my friends from the West Brooklyn Independent Democrats called me up. They said, come on, you gotta go out and you gotta go canvassing. That's, for those who don't know canvassing, you go male and female and you knock on doors. So you always go though male and female. So I said, oh, all right, I'll do it. It wasn't my favorite thing to do, but I did it. They picked me up in the car, where they said, well, we're going to pick up your partner at the next corner. So we get to the next corner, and what I always kid, I say, and there was tall, dark, and handsome, you know, really a good-looking guy. And I thought, well, this is interesting, but, you know, everyone in Brooklyn Heights was married, so I wasn't hoping for anything. So off we go to Red Hook, which is, you know, a project, and we're knocking on doors, and he was a very quiet man, my second husband, very quiet. I guess with me, you have to be quiet, but that's, anyway, so we're knocking on doors, and I said, how many children do you have? And he says, none. So I still don't know anything, do I? I mean, I have no idea, and I don't want to come right out and say, are you married? So I waited a while, and then I said, what does your wife do? And he said, he didn't have a wife. Well, he never had a chance, my dear Bob. And he was lovely. No, then I said, and where do you live? I thought, oh, does he live with his mother or something? No, he didn't live with his mother. He lived right around the corner from me in Brooklyn Heights. So we linked up immediately, and it was like a little fairy tale. It was wonderful. I mean, he saved me or whatever. He loved the children. Made a beautiful honeymoon for me. We spent the first night at the plaza, and someone had given us money. You could buy a new car for $2,000 then. So we had a brand new car, not a very great car, but it was a new car. And we'd go up to the plaza in our little car and get out, and we had the first night in the plaza. And then what he wanted to do, he wanted to show me, upstate, I forget, Lake George. He had always gone to Lake George. He wanted to show me Lake George. And then he had found us a place in Kennebunkport where your room, you could see the ocean from the bed. It was really beautiful, and Maine is beautiful. But the end was going to be Amagansett. He had rented rooms out here, and that pleased me so much. I mean, that he, you know, did that for me. Soon after we got married, we had Matthew, and then after that, we had Jamie. Okay, when we were running for office, the two gentlemen and myself, and I wish I could find a pamphlet to give you, but what was very exciting is Mrs. Roosevelt and Senator Herbert Lehman came to Brooklyn, which is a really big thing when a politician of their stature comes to Brooklyn. They came to the Bossert Hotel to speak for us. They were advocating for us. Well, I still, to this day, I don't know how I ever got through that day, to be on the same stage as Mrs. Roosevelt. She speaks, then I speak, and I don't like speak. Well, it doesn't sound like I don't like speaking now. I do talk a lot, but I'm not a great public speaker. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was one of the most exciting, nervous-making days of my life. I mean, you know, she spoke, Senator spoke, or the other two gentlemen spoke, I spoke, and it was exciting. And after that, not that day, she invited us all to tea at her apartment, and that's the photo that we liked so much. And I didn't even know anyone took a photo till later. A photographer just sent me one, and I'm so glad that this wonderful photo that he took. I don't even remember that. And she was just what everyone reads about her: charming, smart, you know, everything you know about or you've read about her is true. Okay. Well, I was married to my second husband 45 years, which is a very good marriage. I mean, and he was a wonderful father. That meant so much to me. You know, I remember the boys once saying it was a lucky day that I met him. He turned out to be a great, great, great dad. His last name began with T, just like my first husband's. They were both copywriters. I mean, and they both liked it out here out east. So I said I don't have to change my towels, not that I had any with initials on, but if I did, I wouldn't have to change them. How I got to Amagansett was with my first husband, Bob Thomas. And I remember so well, he wanted to introduce me to his aunts, his maiden, well, one was a maiden aunt and the other was married, and they lived here in Amagansett together. We got off the train from this little darling station. I had never been this far east ever. I mean, Jones Beach was the farthest, or Point Lookout was as far as Long Beach. That's as far as I got. So we come out, we get off this sweet little station. We walk down a main street that looks like it's out of a book. It's still adorable. It's still the prettiest place. And we walked down Main Street, turned on the street where the aunts lived, and they lived in this magnificent place, which had been a tennis club. It had been a little tennis club. This beautiful, beautiful house, a block from the ocean. So that was how we got to Amagansett, how I got to Amagansett. Now you know why I come here every day. Look at this view. And you can, if you were down the beach, you could look up and down. You don't see a high rise any place. Is that beautiful? And this summer we had lots and lots of whales came to visit this particular beach. We would stand here and people would go, oh. We had whales, we had seals, and we had dolphins. Couldn't everybody come here every day and feel better?
Yeah, I love the smell.
Yeah, oh, me too. I love the smell of I love when I go in I didn't get in this year, but every other year I did. I was a little timid this year, but I'll go in next year. But the taste, when you get in the water, it brings back, you become very young again. Bob Tulp and I had a lot in common. Of course, the Democrats, and of course Brooklyn Heights, but even more so, he always went to Wainscott, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from Amagansett. So we both loved Amagansett. And when my stepmother sent me a check out of the blue for $10,000, I said, now we can buy a house in Amagansett. So we rushed out here. Well, maybe we didn't rush, but we did get out here quickly. And we could only afford $15,000 for the house. There were only 3 houses left in Amagansett that were at that price. And we looked at the 3 and we went, well, I would have bought one of them, but I didn't love the house. But I was willing, I wanted that house so badly that I would have taken one of them. They were nice houses, but anyway, so that my friend called and she said, I have a friend who's in real estate and she just started and she has one house. Would you go, just to give her the practice, go look at the house? And we walked into the house where we are right now and we said, we'll take it. Well, we didn't say that quite yet. We said, how much is it? They said $21,000. We, oh boy, that seems. We said, we'll pay 17. They said 19, and it was a deal. And we never, I mean, people nowadays look in basements. We never asked about heating or basements or anything. And it was all furnished, completely furnished and nicely, including curtains and drapes and bed, everything but sheets. And in the cabinet in the kitchen, and I thought this was interesting, they got everything at yard sales and stuff, were wine glasses with the initial T on them that they had got at a yard sale. So I knew the house was made for us. And I've loved this house ever since. I love my house. I mean, I know it's not, one of these big things, but I just love my little house and I want to stay here until I die. One of the reasons I love Amagansett, which we've talked about, I have so many, but one, when I first came here, were all the animals you saw, and being a city girl and loving animals, I couldn't believe that I could see a deer, and look at this, the deer came right up to our window. I realize it more now that I'm older, I'm really a small town girl is what I am. I mean, the city and all those places, it was wonderful and all I saw, and I'm so glad I did it, but I've never been happier in my whole life than I am right now, as far as feeling I'm in the right place for me at the right time. Hi, honey. Come on in, darling. Hi. Good. How are you? I want to introduce you. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi.
Evan,
Evan. Hi,
nice to
Evan.
meet you.
Christiane.
Nice to meet
Ginew.
you. You're male,
Thank you very much, honey. Come sit down. I guess
I guess.
that's my Evan. He was an actor in life. You were many things in life. What was one of them?
Actor Manquet, fire dancer, snake wrangler.
True.
I still do the fire dancing, but not professionally.
And you
anymore.
still have the snakes. They still go on trip.
Evan's number 2, son number
Yes.
2.
In every way.
And I like the David Bowie
Well, thank you.
t-shirt.
Thank you. Actually, number 4 son gave this to me for a birthday a couple of years ago. We're both very big Bowie fans.
How did you guys get through the pandemic?
Well, I couldn't have done without my children. I mean, people talk about children in one way or another, but I couldn't have done without Evan, Jamie, and Kristen. Because they did it. I have not been to a supermarket in a year and a half.
Wow. And how long has your mom been out here full time?
We're not sure.
Oh, okay.
20 years, isn't it? Not that long?
20 years would have made you 72.
Oh, no. Full time now?
I think you moved out here when you were in your 50s.
Okay. Well, then I've been here longer than I think.
She's been here a long time. Yeah, and my stepfather, her husband, stayed in the city and worked for many years. He only retired much later.
Yeah. Actually, that's always the perfect marriage, is 4 days a week. But then he retired, and I had to tell him, I said, well, you can't join any of the things I'm in. You know, you can't be on any of those boards. Find your own things, which he did. And it was funny, once when I was counting up, I guess I was doing something, maybe his obit or something, I realized he did more than I did, but he's so quiet, we never knew about it.
He was also bilingual, which helped a lot, so he did a lot of work in the Spanish community out here. One of the great memories, and you guys are way too young for it, was back in the 60s. So Friday night in the summer, all the mothers and housewives would meet the husbands getting off the LIRR. I mean,
Right here at our little
in
state.
Amagansett, it would be about 98% male coming off of train, and then it was always sort of a fun experience. And the fathers all had a couple drinks on the way. They were in a club car in those days.
Bar.
And then Sunday evening, we would just wave goodbye and.
I want to show you the building because the Amagansett Village Improvement Society painted it. So we fixed it up. We do all this here. We keep it nice here. We just painted this, AVIS.
So tell me about how you used to, you'd wait for Bob here.
Yes, it wasn't like this. There was a real house here where the station master lived. He and his wife. There was a house. It wasn't elevated. We used to wait over there, way over there. There's a field. We all used to wait there. All the people waited for the husbands there. The kids would play. This was not at all like, it was all flat. I like this one. Do you like our sign that we just
I
put
love
up?
the sign.
That's the sort of thing we do, AVIS, just to make everything look prettier. But this is all different. It was all more fieldy, you know.
Rustic.
Yes.
And what did you do during the pandemic?
I went to the beach every single day. People say that only children always like a lot of attention. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know I do like to be photographed. Oh, here's...
Oh, let's see. Talk to him.
Too popular.
Talk to me.
Oh, no,
they're
come
doing
talk
a
with-
film of me. This is my friend Nikki. He does many things. I love
That's
him
right.
dearly.
Aw.
Tell me, how did you guys meet?
Oh, I've known him. He and Jamie were little boys together. You haven't met Jamie yet, but they were little boys here at the beach club
Yeah.
together.
Infants.
Okay, and also Nikki went to Brooklyn Friends School when I
Right.
was there.
After I got kicked out of boarding school, Joan saved me.
You want that on tape?
Who cares?
Okay, absolutely.
I'm incredibly successful, so it doesn't really
Right, who
matter.
gives-
Hi, welcome to Joan's Office by the Sea. This is where we plan, this is where we talk about it, and then we execute. So this is Joan's
No fax
office.
machine.
No fax
No.
machine.
No internet.
None of the modern amenities, just a beautiful ocean. And let's see, you never know what you're going to see down here. So we can have whales, dolphins, waves, beautiful sunrise, sunsets.
Seals.
And let me tell you, Joan is such a rock star. She is in all the local papers. They don't even ask her name anymore. They know exactly. So whenever we have events for children for Halloween or the holidays or the Easter egg hunt, Joan is always there. Joan has her chair. Joan also has the outfit. All right, so for Halloween, she is decked out with, of course, a beautiful hat. Same thing for the holiday.
The cat.
Some type
Yeah,
of
it's a little
a headpiece. And also for the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And Joan is always handing out the prizes to the children and speaking to the children and asking them if they are having a wonderful time and enjoying themselves. But Joan is always there.
But Vicky gives me the best spot. She gives me the best. She gets a seat for me. She gives me the best job, which is giving out the goodies. That's really sweet. She does a great job.
Joan is always the highlight.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Absolutely. She's absolutely beautiful.
No.
Inside and out. And we're so fortunate. Joan is such a role model and such my hero. I've learned so much from her.
I learned so much from you, though.
She's just a truly good friend and just a wonderful role model for so many people in the community of giving of herself to the community.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Vicky.
I have a question for you ladies. Who would you say is the mayor, the true mayor of Amagansett?
Oh, it's Joan.
That's a silly question. Let me tell you one fun story about the mayors. When Clinton came to East Hampton, Amagansett, John Gambling, that's a radio show, called me up and said, we'll call you at 7 a.m. We'd like to ask you some questions. I said, that's fine. And they called and they said, well, you are the mayor of Amagansett. So I sort of said yes. And they asked me questions, and I hung up, and it all went very well and neatly. 2 minutes later, the phone rings, and it's the mayor of East Hampton. And I said, oh my God, to my husband. He answered, and he said, it's Mayor Rickenback, the mayor of East Hampton. I said, oh, I bet he's furious at me for saying that I'm the mayor, another mayor when I'm not real. He called up to compliment me on the radio show, which he had heard, which I thought is typical of out here being nice. And that he would do that was so sweet, I thought. But that was funny. I was very nervous then.
You need to know that if anything gets done in Amagansett, it's Joan.
Well, the happiest days of my life were my children. There's something about childbirth, and then all of a sudden you have this child. And I always I was one of those one of those women who I wanted to get married, I wanted to have children, I wanted to be a grandmother. All those things were just somewhere in there. And so I was thrilled to have the children. I think I'm lucky in that I like life. I enjoy it very much. I like people.
Talk to me about technologies. What is the most shocking?
Well, I guess one of the most shocking is going in the space thing, which I have nothing to do with, going to space and people who are ordinary people going to space. I have an iPhone. I guess I don't even know if it's an iPhone. I call it an iPhone. I do like it. I do the phone. I can do Instagram. I can do Facebook. But I can't, if I want to put my picture on, I have to have help. I don't know. It's too much technology for me. I just think people are missing something by having so much technology. I thought life was simpler. Well, then I worry about children. Do you ever really know a person with all this on the phone, the FaceTime? And it's better just to be person to person, I think.
Do you prefer a typewriter or a computer?
I prefer the typewriter to the computer, but I haven't had a typewriter in years. I don't even know if I could use it. I love the remote control because I don't have to get up. And I bought something that I exercise my feet. You'll see it. It's a little pedal thing. But the kids say I use it to put all the remotes down there. That's what I use it for. That and my telephone. I'm not using it the way I should. I do a lot of volunteering, and I tell anyone who's older, you never have to be lonely ever if you volunteer. It is so fantastic. You meet people, and at least where I live, they're always happy to have a volunteer. It isn't like you have to wait to get in or pay to get in, or they're happy to have volunteers. There are 10 groups that I volunteer for. My most favorite group in the whole wide world is the Amagansett Village Improvement Society. And that's why they planted a tree, because I've done it for 50 years. And they planted a tree, which I want to show you.
That's Joan's tree.
That's my tree.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good,
It's
doesn't it?
beautiful.
They didn't put in a little skinny thing. They put in a
No,
real
that's
good
a
tree.
real solid tree.
And that was one of the best surprise. It surprised me. I thought maybe they'd do it if I died. But to get it when you're living was the greatest treat. That was one of the wonderful things in my life. I cried. I mean, it was, and I was so surprised. So, but AVIS is my baby. You know,
And what do you do?
our mission is to keep Amagansett the beautiful place it is. So we do all the trees. We have men in our organization check the trees and say this one needs pruning. We do the pruning, not on the street. That's the town's, but any other, and not on someone's property. But we do the ones on the street. But they also, the town helps us with that. The Village Preservation Society is another group that is preserving the village of East Hampton, and they're a lovely group. And I don't do so much physical work for them because I can't, but they're a great group who are preserving all the beautiful buildings and just keeping, again, the quality of East Hampton the same. I'm in the fire department, but of course, again, because I'm more limited now, it's the Ladies Auxiliary Fire Department, and that's a wonderful bunch of gals. And we raise money for people who might need a Christmas tree or a Christmas dinner. We give scholarship money out to children of fire people. They're a great group of ladies. In fact, in about a week, we'll be selling Christmas wreaths, a week or two, of Christmas wreaths up at the firehouse. So that's fun. And again, you're just meeting people all the time. And then I don't belong, but the Lions Club, I was they have a dog show to make money, and it's just like Madison Square Garden. They do a great dog show. Everyone brings their dogs and they go around in circles, and when we pick, the best looking, the most odd, the one that looks most like its owner, and I'm a judge. And that is so much fun. You have to come. Everybody has to come to that. That's the Lions Club. They are so good. There's the Amagansett Citizens Advisory Committee, which is more, they get into more political things than any of these other groups. And you go there and we find out, we have a representative from the town comes to the meeting, we find out what's going on, and then we tell them what we think is good or bad about what's going on. And that's another good group. So, the health clinic, I love that. The East Hampton Health Clinic, that was a building built a while back so that we'd have an easy place to get care. And I started from the very beginning to be the receptionist, and now I'm not the only one. They're all different days, but I love it because there are x-rays there are all the doctors, there's a pharmacy, there's just all the doctors, many doctors are there, and you're at the front desk and you help people. And what I hope is happening, that when they see you, if they're a little bit afraid or whatever, that maybe your smile will make them more at ease. And I've met loads of people that way. Hi kitties, how are you? How are you kids? What you up to?
Not much. Saturday doings. How are you?
Hello, honey. How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
Hi. Oh, a kiss. Oh, I like that. So tell me what you're gonna do today.
Well, we're having our house painted, so
Yes.
that's
So you had to get
we're
out.
running around.
Yeah, we're
Did I
covered in
plastic?
plastic.
Did I rush you too much?
No, it's fine.
Oh, we had the hardest time. My phone broke, or they redid it last night. You know how they sometimes say they're putting in a new system? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, it's probably your birthday
No, it's not.
password.
No, it wasn't.
No.
I don't know. I have no idea what my
Okay.
password. So we couldn't get it. They all worked on it. And so we couldn't get it. But I had put in, when they say did you forget your password? Put in a new one. At that time, I put in a new one.
Okay.
Well, we worked on the phone and worked on the phone. And finally,
Oh, you got it.
yes, we used the number I just put in and it worked. Christiane,
Yes.
this is my daughter-in-law, my darling daughter-in-law.
Oh,
who's
hello.
taken care
Hi.
of me.
Very nice
Kristen
to meet
and my
you.
son-
Nice to meet you as
my
well.
youngest son, Jamie.
Hi,
Hello.
Jamie.
Nice meeting
I've
you.
heard a lot about you guys.
And they have
Welcome.
taken care of me the whole time during the pandemic.
Oh.
With Evan help too, but Kristen is, they're both teachers, so
Oh,
they're
okay.
very, very efficient. But Kristen especially is efficient and she
Yes.
brings me food, every day practically. So I always have something, I open the fridge and I think, has Kristen been here today? If she hasn't, I'm all disappointed.
You call it the food fairy.
That's
right?
right.
It's a food
Oh.
fairy.
Food fairy.
That's
Oh.
what she is. Also, I love it because she's much neater than me. I save boxes and bags and tissue paper, and Kristen comes in and picks it up a little. The house always looks better after she leaves, so
Oh.
it's really nice. You do know how much I appreciate you.
Much as
Thank
well.
you so much. It was nice
It's
to
still
meet
to have
you
all
guys.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
honey.
Oh, sorry.
Call me later, honey. I love you, honey, so much.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I'll see
Take
you
good
guys.
care. Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
Call me
you.
later.
Thanks.
Will do.
Come by or something,
Okay, sounds good.
Joan wants me to see the dog. Hey, what's your name?
Bailey.
Hi, Bailey.
Hi, beautiful.
So
Look at that.
sweet. Bailey, I have a little doggie. A little dachshund, Daisy. Tiny.
Isn't she beautiful?
She's
Isn't Bailey?
beautiful. How
He.
look, oh,
Hi, Bailey. Hi,
How
baby
Four
doll.
in December.
he's so sweet.
Yeah.
You want to try driving the stick shift?
Oh, you have a stick shift? No. I forgot.
It'll come back. It's
If
like
you
riding a
could-
bicycle.
If you could imagine, I learned how to drive in Paris.
I bet. Oh,
Left
look
here.
at that. Left here. Okay.
And the thing is, have you ever gone? I didn't speak French then, but the teacher,
Comment ça va?
did, and he'd say "le friend," and I wouldn't know what that meant.
That's
And we were around the Arc de Triomphe, where that it's crazy.
Yes, I know
and
where it
there
is.
I am, and he gave up. I never got my license there. When I went back to Brooklyn, then I got my license.
So anything you're going to point out?
Well, this is the grade school for Amagansett.
Okay.
And I was on the committee that helped when they rebuilt. They didn't rebuild it, they just added to it. And you'll see from the front how it's beautiful. You'd never know that we had done anything.
And I love these trees.
Yes, aren't they beautiful?
Amagansett Village Improvement Society gives scholarships to Amagansett school children who went to our little grade school here, who are going into college. So we give money scholarships. We also give book scholarships to the 6th graders here in Amagansett grade school who are graduating and going on to middle school. We give them book scholarships. And what's fun is just being part of young people's big day. It's really fun. Everyone treats us so nicely.
AVIS maintains the flagpole.
Okay.
You turn right in here.
Okay. So this is where you spent
Well,
many days?
millions of hours at the tennis courts. I love to play. I was fairly good. Not go on the lawn. Not wonderful, but good enough. And we.
Do you know I've never played tennis?
You were pretty good at it.
Never.
I took it up when I was considerably like 30. But I spent so many happy days here on these two little courts, which my husband always said it looked like a little jewel box here. You don't even know it's here unless you come right up to here. And it is, isn't it the sweetest little place?
Beautiful. Yes.
Every Saturday we would have a lottery to pick the course, to pick the times
Okay.
for the week. About 100 of us would meet right here.
Right over here?
Yeah, over by that bench.
Okay.
Over here.
Okay.
And I had a little basket, and they were clips, and if you open the clip, there was a number inside. And I'd go around, here's my little basket. Number 1 got the first hour, whatever hour he or she wanted on either court, until everybody, got a court. And what was beautiful about it, and the difference between technology and now, is, and then, is we got to meet everyone every Saturday. We got to be friends. We got to play with, and we're still friends 50 years later.
Oh, look at that.
Is that marvelous?
Yes.
Now they put it on
The computer.
an app.
So it's
Would you call
right.
it an app?
Yes.
They put it on an app. And one young person whose father and grandfather had played here, he said, he really missed having the lottery. He said, I don't know anybody. I helped make this street a historic district. I was part of that when we made it officially a historic district, which means they cannot tear down the houses and they can't do anything to the front of them. In the back, you can do what you want. But
And what's the name of this street?
this is Bluff Road, which is a very prestigious, it's one of the prettiest, blocks because, well, what happened in the past is all these houses owned down to the beach. And the people of that generation, which was, I guess, in the 20s and 30s, gave the land to the Nature Conservancy. So there are only one house. There's only one house down there. Of all this whole, they gave their land. See, that's the way people were. They gave their land to the Conservancy. So you see nothing here. This is the beach club where I've spent 50 happy, wonderful years of my life in the summer. It's only open 10 weeks a year. It's my happy spot. I come in here. This is where we park. You see how the dunes remain?
Oh, yeah, untouched.
You see that little building there?
Yes.
You have a picture at home of when it's decorated.
Yes.
With all the people.
Yes, that's what it's like in the summer. We all have a locker here. There's a bathroom and showers. In the summer, we have someone who feeds us. We hire someone, and that's part of what you pay for. That's where we're going to have lunch.
Oh, right here. Okay, so is there like a cafeteria there?
No,
or
it's a
kitchen?
kitchen.
It's a real kitchen.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a kitchen.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And this is where we usually see deer, right around here.
Sure.
But isn't this beautiful?
It's incredible.
And it never has changed all these years that I've been here. That's what I take a look from, up on the deck and I say, look at this. It is so gorgeous, I think. I'm so happy with it. And I've met many made close, dear friends here. And the children have grown up here. There were no houses here when I came, none.
Wow.
And someone bought up all this property and then they built all these houses. Made it so you can't see the house. You see?
Yes.
That was a good tour.
Thank you for bringing back beautiful memories by the one to the tennis court. I really enjoyed that. And then seeing some of my friends.
Oh, they're wonderful. Well, you're certainly not alone.
That's never alone. That's the truth. After 25 years of being divorced from my first husband, I went back to Paris with my second husband to show him everything. And on the way home in the plane, I decided to write my first husband because he had given me some of the most important things in my life. One were my children. 2 was Amagansett. And 3 was Paris. And I thanked him for that. I wrote the letter and I did receive a letter back. It sort of took away all the anger and whatever because he had given me so much. And I'm an only child. My mother was an only child. My father was an only child. And I've made my own family now. I have this big family because some of them are, either married or have a girlfriend or boyfriend. And so I have this very big family. It's wonderful. I just wanted to put a special hello and love out to them because they have enriched my life. I have 7 grandchildren and 3 step-grandchildren, so that's 10 in all, which is a lot of grandchildren. And they're so wonderful to me, which surprises me because I'm not your typical grandmother. I don't bake, I'm not a very good cook, I used to knit, but I haven't knitted for years. And yet they call me up from college or from the city where one of them works, and they all come in the summer. Well, 2 live here, so of course I see them all summer. But all the others come and visit, and it's just wonderful, and they really like me. It's like that. Remember that
ad that used to be with the cereal, the little boy, Mikey, he likes it. I feel the same way, that they like me. I cannot, since I'm not a typical grandma, I mean, you know, I don't feed them. They can always use upstairs if they want to stay, but, you know, it's just a wonderful feeling, and they, as I said, they've enriched my life so much.
Any words of wisdom that you'd like to impart?
Just love the life you're living, it's my thing. Or if you don't, then change it. I mean, I think that it's important just to love what you're doing and love your life, because that makes it all worthwhile. That's about all I have to impart. I mean, find joy in your day. I don't know how you do it, or I couldn't tell you how to do it, but that's what you gotta do. Even if it's just a drive to the ocean or whatever. I mean, find some joy in it. And if you're not joyous, then, you know, find something else. I want to thank you, because I was going to write my memoirs for my children, and I just don't write I just don't get around to it. I don't write very well as far as my fingers are concerned. And so I thank you, because now they're going to have this wonderful film that they can all have a copy of and see their life and my life. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it.